Hey there, Center Hill, and to all those who might be joining in today for this word of encouragement. Today I want to share with you a promise given by God to His people during a very dark moment in His people's history. It's in Isaiah chapter 26, verse 3. Israel is in a very dark period or a time in their life. They're facing some enemies. And no, I'm not talking about the Assyrian army who would take them off into captivity. But there are about three enemies they are facing. Those enemies are fear, doubt, and worry. And God says, I offer to you a peace and a confidence that will conquer those enemies, that will beat those enemies. He's always wanted to do this for His people. A little bit later in the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 15, He's going to say to His people, I wanted to give you this peace, but you wouldn't have any of it. In fact, in that verse it says, this is what the sovereign Lord, the Holy One of Israel says, only in returning to me will you be saved. And watch these words. In quietness and confidence is your strength. But then He regretfully says, but you would have none of it. He wanted to give them not just peace, but perfect peace. Back in Isaiah chapter 26, verse 3, here's what God says, or here's what Isaiah says in reference to God. You will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you. I want you to think about those two words, perfect peace. In Hebrew, it is shalom, shalom. It's repetition. And with repetition comes a communication of intensity. I want you to think of the double doors of protection that is offered here. If you were inside a door that offered protection from the outside world, but what if there was two doors there that offered protection from the outside world? Just a double sense of protection. That's what God is saying here when He says, perfect peace. There is a place that you can reside in that offers protection, confidence, safety, and peace when all the world around you is full of chaos. There's a perfect peace that the Lord will keep us in. I want you to notice that this place, where this place is, the verse says, whose mind is stayed on you. When we keep our minds settled and established upon the Lord Himself, then we can be kept in this perfect peace, in this place of safety. It's a matter of our mind. Of course, in the New Testament, Paul will say in Colossians chapter 3, verse 2, that those who are risen in Christ, those who are Christians, should set their minds on things above, not on things on the earth. I want you to notice that to have this perfect peace, your mind cannot occasionally come to God. Your mind can't just come to God on certain circumstances, but it has to be stayed there. It has to be established there, stayed on Him. If your mind is stayed on yourself and on your problems and on your worries and on your troubles or on anything else, we cannot have this perfect peace. The verse ends, because He trusts in you. Just another way of expressing this idea of keeping our minds stayed on Him. I want you to notice Isaiah 26 verse 3, how it begins and how it ends. It begins with the word you in reference to God, and it ends with the word you in reference to God. And you and me, we're in the middle, trusting in Him, having our minds established and stayed on His will and on His ways and on His confidence. Perfect peace is the Lord within each of us. Be encouraged as you trust in Him today.